But I absolutely love San Diego. Yeah.
So like nowadays, I don't need an office, so I'm kind of like free.
I always get so confused with all the different time zones
That's right. That's what happened.
on you.
Oh gosh, it was so
But
amazing.
a lot of people out there, they talk about leadership. Now, leadership is a word which is being thrown around everywhere, on a daily basis. People talk about thought leadership, people talk about servant leadership, people talk about all different facets and adjectives in front of the word leadership. But what exactly is leadership? I personally feel that leadership is how you conduct yourself, because that is something which is deeply rooted from within you. You're either born a leader or you're not. As simple as that. So would love to get your takes regarding leadership, and also a little bit more insights perhaps regarding how you have perhaps reinvented, transformed yourself along life's journey that you've been on.
Sure. Leadership and mentorship are two things that are really near and dear to my heart. As I mentioned, I've helped build and grow companies for the last 20 plus years. And, I believe that everyone has a leader within them, because leadership comes from the heart. And leadership is about, I believe in servant leadership. I believe that, that we all come together to succeed. And I've shared a lot of things regarding leadership on LinkedIn specifically, and again around things like mentorship as well, and love mentoring, by the way. I mean, it's one of the things that I cherish the most, because having gone through what I have, the best of the best and the worst of the worst for the last 20 years in all things startups, it's the unknown entity that I think is what's most helpful for folks to understand, because the journey, if you haven't been on it, you don't know what to expect. So, it's something that Joy had mentioned earlier when we were talking about, we were actually talking about things such as leaders, and the fact that we're all humans first, okay? And I think the best leaders in the world look at people as human beings first, not a number, not a role, not a job title, not anything else other than a human being. And the best leaders in the world do one thing, and one thing really, really, really care about their people as human beings. I've worked with a lot of CEOs, both from a direct perspective and a business perspective, in terms of Voice Your Vibe, and around this in leadership, because it's really easy for leaders to fall into a trap where they're focused on the next quarter, the next set of numbers, the next acquisition, the next merger, the next IPO, cracking the whip on their people and focusing on, because you have a board to report to, you have funders to report to, and you have to accomplish your goals. Otherwise, you don't get that money anymore if you've taken money, or the company won't survive, right? But if you were to focus on your people, I had a conversation with a fellow CEO, and he was the CEO of a hospital. And we were talking about this very subject of leadership and the importance of focusing and caring about people. And so what he does is whenever someone, they get a card, and he sends the card. And what happened was, in this case, he said, no, I don't want to do the card. I want you to go get a cake for this person. This was an employee in one of the departments. He said, I want you to get a cake and get some balloons, and I want you to let me know when you have that, and I want to go and take it to them. And so he went down to the department. And of course, the CEO coming down to the department, the first natural knee-jerk response is, who's about to get fired? Because the CEO doesn't just show up, right?
Yep.
And yet when you see balloons and a cake, different connotation and understanding, right? And the reaction was incredible, right? Just a simple, kind gesture to do something like that made that employee feel valued as a human being. I had spoken with another CEO who was along the lines of the same conversation, and said, look, when's the last time you took every single one of your employees to lunch? And this was a global organization, right? So it's not a simple feat. But I said, imagine if it were you and your CEO came to you and said, I'd love to take, not about business. This is you're not losing your job. I just would love to have a conversation and share a meal together, right? And do your homework in advance. You have access to so much information socially and through your organization. You know, it could be me taking I, right? And I know that I loves cats and I loves education and I has 2 kids and I is an expat, you know, from the States but lives in Korea. I could find all these thoughts, right? And I loves women, supporting women entrepreneurs, and we go to lunch and we just have a conversation together and we share a meal together and we enjoy each other's company, and I walks away feeling valued as a human being. The natural reaction that's going to come from that is 5 to 10 to 50x in output, because she feels valued as a human being. She would want to do so much more than just her job, because she believes in what she's doing and what we collectively are doing together. And I've seen it time and time again happen. So again, I think the most important thing when it comes to leadership is caring about people as human beings. It is above and beyond anything, makes the most difference. It changes the culture of a company. It changes the output of a company and the direction of a company. And it brings the hearts together as one. So just leadership in general, I think that's the case. You talk about women and entrepreneurs and leadership and such. You know, again, I shared my passion for mentoring, well, in general, but especially women entrepreneurs, because they don't get enough visibility. They don't get enough funding. They don't get enough opportunities. And it is just what society has done. And in the last number of years, there has been a lot of voice and visibility with things like the Me Too movement and other things that have happened, women running for president, that is amazing. And it should have happened so much longer ago, but neither here nor there, it's happened, right? And it's allowed for a voice to be heard in a way that has never been happening before. And because of that, that's why I and another co-founder have come together for the We for She Summit to be able to literally, we say bridge the gender gap. I say break the gender gap, because we're all humans first. And making sure that women entrepreneurs get the opportunity, perspective, to be able to succeed and to follow their dreams and their hearts, and bring all of us collectively together, we so she can fly. So it's a big part of my heart. It's a big part of we's heart. And so many out there, from a leadership perspective especially, that I think more and more, let's inspire others, and let's lift others up and rise together so that we can all succeed as leaders.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Brian, for your amazing insights. We really thank you once again. Really do appreciate it.